Will the president and his team object to unsealing the search warrant and the evidence recovered?
It doesn't appear at this time like we would object, but the court has ordered the Department of Justice to coordinate with us and to work on, how that release would take place or what that would look like. All he has to do as the president is make up his own mind that something is declassified, and it's declassified. There doesn't have to be a ceremony to declassify something.
All right, back to our top story tonight. President Trump's attorney, Christina Bobb, earlier on the show, will know in less than 24 hours if the Trump team plans to approve the DOJ's motion to unseal the search warrant that led to the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Major implications, of course, on whether or not the former president will run again in 2024. Before that, it's 2022. Georgia Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan is here. I would describe you earlier as a Trump skeptic Republican. Now I would say I think a Trump critic Republican. That's become an increasingly lonely place. Why do you think so much of the Republican Party has coalesced, maybe not necessarily around Donald Trump, but against the Biden DOJ?
Well, I would describe myself as a staunch, lifetime conservative and Republican, is the way I would describe myself. Look, I think
you can identify however you'd like, sir. Go ahead.
Great, thank you. I think the Republican Party continues to go through this process of healing and rebuilding and figuring out who we want to be when we grow up. Donald Trump was certainly a strong leader for 4 years, and then it kind of all started to fall apart. And it's a tug of war. And I think, we just gained a lot of ground in the right direction for a few months with, all the hard facts around January 6th and some of the other fallout. But now, Donald Trump's gained a little bit of ground and attention.
The Civil War, I guess, goes on, you could say, between these two sides. There is an election, though, coming up, and civil wars inside parties ahead of elections aren't necessarily good things. I'm thinking about your state of Georgia. Herschel Walker, the Republican candidate, given a 31% chance of winning. This isn't a poll, but Decision Desk HQ numbers. Raphael Warnock, a 70% chance of winning. That's chances of winning, not the poll numbers, but still, poll numbers way down for Herschel Walker. Do you think that the Trump effect has something to do with it, or is this just because Walker's a terrible candidate?
Well, I think we're seeing it not only play out in Georgia, but Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Ohio. The quality of a candidate, especially for a U.S. Senate candidate, matters. You can't just expect to win a statewide race by, being endorsed by the former president. You've got to make sure you've got the right fundraising totals, and you got to make sure you're on message every minute of every day. You can short circuit a U.S. House district, right? And certainly we've seen that. But when you start getting into these statewide races, and I had to win a statewide race to become lieutenant governor, and you're talking about millions of people, you got to be a quality candidate, and I think that's really what we're starting to see play out.
Yeah, we're putting up the numbers that are the chance of victory as decided by Decision Desk HQ, not the polling numbers, for those of you on Twitter who are about ready to be angry. But John Fetterman came up. He is in a race with Dr. Oz. And it's almost this race playing out on social media. I don't know if you've seen the memes that are going around. This is one from Mehmet Oz. Still looking for John Fetterman. Let us know if you see him. Lost John Fetterman because he has not been on the campaign trail. I'm wondering, when both sides, and that's what's happened in the Fetterman-Oz race, sort of dive down to the meme wars, obviously the voters lose. But in some sense, does either side have an advantage in a case like that?
I think the people that lose are the voters. The American people lose. The folks in Pennsylvania, or you pick the state, when we start worried about memes and 10-second sound bites, we forget about the real problems. I wake up scared to death as a business owner, as a father, as an American, of all the troubles that we face: inflation, input costs, national security, immigration. Those are things that really, really worry me. And I want to see U.S. candidates and U.S. senators that actually understand the importance of their job. We got to just stop trying to win elections, and we got to start trying to govern again and legislate, because if it's going to literally take years. I mean, we could start today and win back the White House and both sides of Congress, and we'd take years to unwind the damage done over the last 2 years.
How significant will be the effect of President Trump's base on this election, in that if they are fired up because of this latest raid, what does that do?
Yeah, just my gut feeling is that Donald Trump's base is no longer enough to alone win an election. We've got
Well, it's enough when we win primaries, not generals. Fair enough.
Right. And certainly, if you want to just win the first half of the football game, that's great. But I like winning the whole game. And so I don't think Donald Trump's base is no longer big enough to just by standalone win these elections. They're going to have to attract the middle. They're going to have to attract folks that are disgusted with Donald Trump's approach and reaction post-office, right?
It's interesting you say that. There's a lot of people, a lot of Republicans I know who are disgusted by Donald Trump and even more disgusted right now by the FBI. So you make good points, Lieutenant Governor. It's good to see you as always, sir. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.